Hello and welcome to another session wherein I'm going to discuss about the importance and about the usefulness of using mapped diagnostic context or MDC in logging. If you have not already used MDC in logging in a typical web application, in a typical multi-threaded web application like SpringBoot, it provides immense value because MDC in logging is basically, you can think of it as a wrapper on thread local. If you are already aware of thread local, so basically it can insert specific properties to specific threads. So what I'm trying to say is, say for example, we are running a Spring-Boot like web application and which runs in a multi-threaded fashion. So when there are multiple user requests coming and hitting the application in parallel, then for each of the user requests, a thread is spawned and we might want to log specific things for every single request, like maybe the user ID and many other claims which are there in the job. So we might have a filter, servlet filter, which intercepts all incoming requests and extracts important claims, important attributes from the job and then log it, or then rather put it in MDC, so that when we are going into the service layer or in the controller layer, if there is any error or if you want to do any info level logging, then the log also contains those information. So this is a very nice way in which we can log additional information, because this is again a wrapper on thread local. We can log additional information, additional thread specific information. So now let us go ahead and see a demo of how we can apply MDC in logging in a Spring-Boot application. So let me show you how you can implement MDC in your Spring-Boot application. So once again, please navigate to my GitHub repo mshomik78. So within github.com/mshomik78 and then hireable code Java. And from there, please go to the branch Spring-Boot MDC. And again, just like other repos, I have mentioned the steps very clearly here. So please go ahead and clone the repo, and then you need to run a maven clean package to create a package. And once you have done that, then you can run the Spring-Boot application. Let me now come back to IntelliJ and show you the structure of the application. So if you download the application in IntelliJ, what you will see is this is the structure of the application. And this is a request filter, which is intercepting all the incoming requests. And this is where I'm actually populating the map diagnostic context. So it's very much like a map. It's basically a wrapper on thread local, as I had already mentioned. Like, say for example, there is a request ID in the HTTP header. I'm extracting the request ID and then putting it in MDC against a key named caller ID. This is just as an example, and then putting some other key value pair, just some fixed key value pair, just to show how the MDC works. And then when the filter will actually complete, which means when the request processing is done, then I'm finally removing it from the MDC so that it's not polluted. Now let me go and show you the code of the controller. So in the controller, you will see that I have done some logging, like handling request for endpoint, and then I have also done mdc.get, and then the caller ID or the request ID which was extracted from the filter would be printed here. Now the important thing here is the configuration of logback XML, which is here, which actually configures to print MDC. So if you can see here, this is the configuration MDC. So even without this specific mdc.get, this is actually redundant, it's not required. With this configuration of %mdc, then the logger will actually print all the variables, or rather all the key value pairs which are there in MDC. So I additionally logged this mdc.get just to show that if required, we can also extract the variable from MDC and we can also use it somewhere. Because say for example, using MDC, we can actually insert some variable which we have normally extracted from the JOT, and something like maybe some user ID or maybe some other request ID, some session ID or whatever, which you might require at a later stage during processing. So you can also extract it using mdc.get, and then you can actually use it for whatever business logic you need. And if you go to pom.xml, what you will notice is, in fact, there is no additional dependency required for this MDC to actually take effect, because the SpringBoot starter web itself has a transitive dependency on logback. So that's why logback is in the class path. I just need to configure the console appender encoder pattern to have this %MDC so that the logback can actually print MDC. So I hope that was helpful, and if that was helpful, consider subscribing to my channel for other such interesting videos, which also excites me. And thank you for your time once again. Bye bye, and see you in the next video.